Connecting Chats. Today with Zuza Gonçalves from Musica do Círculo, sharing his experiences and thoughts around music making as a tool for human connection. And we are live! Welcome to our Connecting Chats, Mr. Zuza Gonçalves. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. My pleasure. Very happy to be here.
Shall we do our Connecting Cheers?
Yes.
We're having cheers. Very good to have you here. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
My
And
pleasure, man.
I think we can start from the beginning. And can you tell us who are you and who is Zuza and where are you from and where do you live and what kind of things do you do in a kind of a generic way?
Yeah, I'll try. Well, who is Zuza is like a question that's still to be answered, right?
Yeah.
But uh, but I'm from São Paulo, Brazil, and uh, the one thing I like to share is that one of the first musical memories I remember is being in a circle of people playing guitar as like about probably 5 years old, and that state of just being there, seeing people singing and sharing songs, each person a different song from the like Brazilian repertoire, and and I think that something right there really defined my relation with music, and since then I've been reliving that experience in many different contexts, not with guitars, not with traditional songs necessarily, but yeah, I think that has something to do with my journey in music here in Brazil and later around the world. And I'm I started with music singing and in like heavy metal bands, and then rock and roll, and then blues. And so I'm also a harmonica player, and that led me into, and then I went into music school and music university, where I graduated as a conductor.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and in that process, I studied also. I got in touch with like modern uh, art education settings and people involved in it, and I started
Okay,
working
okay.
with.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna
Okay,
stop you right
okay.
there. Lots to digest here. So I want to
Yeah.
go back to that little Zuza singing the guitar around the fire and what's your like? Did you study music as a child as well? And did you have what kind of opportunities did you have as a child to learn music? Did you learn an instrument? Did you
Yeah,
sing?
not many, not many. It was I really love music. From that's like I think the first thing I told my parents I would like to do as a profession was a singer,
Uh,
because I liked this singer on the radio, and they, well, and they put me in a music school when I was a kid, but that lasted for like probably 4 months. And then we were four kids in a Brazilian middle class family, so money was not really, so we couldn't afford more, and
because you didn't have music in schools, no?
we didn't have,
Yeah.
yeah, no musical education at all. Like, uh, I just loved singing, and so we would sing with my brothers in the house, like putting a record and singing along with it. And I had this experience when I was a kid. I really remember it, and I really remember like we recorded a song, and I was picked to sing the song as a kid. So it was a short thing, but I really remember. But not really. I didn't have the opportunity to study music formally. I started to actually study music when I was around, let me see, around 19, 18 to 19 years old.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
yeah.
And
And
what did you study then?
I studied guitar like with my I started to learn. I had this like rock and roll band, heavy metal band, so I would
Oh yeah,
sing, but I didn't have singing classes, so I would just sing, and then the band broke up, and I wanted to keep singing. So I picked up the guitar and started to learn, and I kind of taught myself how to play the guitar, and then I went to have private lessons with this amazing teacher, and he really opened up the whole world for me of what music is about, and started to teach me like jazz and classical guitar, and I was like, wow. And that got me excited into like going to music university. But when I got there, like I just we have this expression in Portuguese, I fell on a parachute, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I didn't know what was
You're
what
like,
was
where am
that
I,
kind of,
right?
yeah. I barely knew how to read music. And so, and then yeah, and then I had some technical training at a like conservatory for 1 year, and then I went straight into music university, and I was like,
Amazing.
got
And you went to
yeah,
study conducting then? Is that
yeah,
conducting and composition?
yeah, that course exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, that course. In Brazil, things are kind of, you know, like I was not an instrument. I didn't know how to really play an instrument very well, and I wasn't like a classical singer either. And I was like in the composition and conducting school, studying like, you know, harmony, counterpoint, and but when going into very deep and complex subjects like, like modern compositional theory and electroacoustic. I don't know how you say that, but
Yeah. Electric.
like electroacoustic composition and all that kind of stuff. And choral music, went very deep into choral music, and also art education. So I had this huge panorama of different things in music university. But when I got out, I was totally like I had really lost myself when it comes to my connection with music. I was really like
Mm,
exposed to all this knowledge and this theory, and I was exposed to an idea of what I should be as a musician, or what a musician should be. And I was exposed to this concept that uh, as a musician you're never good enough. You always should be better. And and that took me a while to deconstruct that.
yeah.
And because I want to be better, but I don't like the idea of having to be better because I'm not enough, you know.
And what is to be
And
better, right?
exactly, yeah. So so after university, I really took me a few years to really reconnect with my journey into music and start the work that I do now. Yeah.
And yes, so did you make any music between just when you left university? Were you actually performing or writing or doing any music?
I had I worked as an educator, like as a teacher,
Teacher, yeah.
with groups. That was like from the beginning of my since I went into university. Like while I was still in university, I was already working with groups, like singing.
Mm,
So and I kept performing with this blues band and playing the harmonica, very different universes. And you know how it is here in Brazil, like you have to do everything,
mm,
right? So I worked a lot in vulnerable communities
mm.
all around the city. That was like a huge school for me. Like working in places where sometimes you wouldn't even have a place to do. You would have to do it outdoors, because
Outside, yeah.
yeah, and no musical instruments at all, and just people, and sometimes people, you know, social issues coming up. And
Yeah.
so that was a huge school for me, like having to improvise everything, and really not having a manual. I never had a manual of what to do with a group.
Yeah.
Just
Like a script, yeah? You just,
Yeah, like a script.
yeah.
And I still don't. And that is the best thing about what I do right now. It's like, of course, you do develop a repertoire
Hmm.
of things to do with people, but never a script.
So amazing. Like you've been saying, you said a few times now, what do you do now and what do you do now? Can you tell us a little bit? I know you do lots of different things, but they're all connected somehow. And
Yeah.
maybe you can give us like a broad picture of like what's your main kind of activity and how that spreads in other smaller, let's call it smaller activities that you do around it as well.
Yeah. So I went into, like I told you, as a musician here in São Paulo, there is this moment where you have to do everything to make ends meet. And so I was performing, teaching like private classes, teaching groups and all that, and feeling very like divided in a way because it's hard to go deep into some of these things. And well, and then for many different reasons, I started to really fall in love with working with groups of people and having musical experiences with them, and that and understanding what kind of musical experience I'd like to have with people, to share with people. And so there were a lot of influences in that process, like for example, Bobby McFerrin was a great influence, like vocal improv was a great influence, theater, dance, body percussion, and art education, like modern art education. All those things like were influences, and I was helped me understand what kind of musical experience I wanted to have with people, because it used to be that I was like a regular choir conductor, and I would lead like rehearsals, and then I would at the same time I was working with people from theater, and I was like, this is so different. And it really, and the people in theater, they're so active and so like they participate, and the singers here, they just do what I tell them, and so I don't want people to just do what I tell them. I want to make music with them, not for them.
Yeah.
And and so this started to shape like the way I work with groups, and that started to like have results, and I started to explore that, and in the beginning very much by myself, not really knowing if other people were working like that. It was a very interesting period. And then and then I began to find other people and connect with other people that were doing stuff like that, either from the body music scene that we have here in São Paulo that is very present, or from the improvised singing, or from the theater. So like, gather with other people. And and then, yeah, so basically that's what I do. I developed this way that my personal way of dealing with improvised music experience with people. That's mostly what I do.
That's your
Like,
motto. It's like,
yeah, yeah. And 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 later I started to find out that there's no way that this experience can be disconnected from human relationships and human connection. And I started to really fall in love with this idea and this universe. So I started to study and get to know people that worked with human relationships and with human connection, but not through music.
mm,
And then like incorporate that also into my universe. And then there's a whole universe out there. So you have nonviolent communication and sociocracy, and people trying to cultivate a different quality of connection and relations as groups. And So I started to that world also opened up to me, and that really led into what we call now Musica do Círculo, like music from the circle. That's the name of the project I have with Ronaldo Crispim and with Pedro Consorti, and and that's my main work today. We say that our work is about uh, how do I translate that? We say in Portuguese, musicar as relações.
Ooh, to
Yeah,
in a way to music like using music as a verb, right? To
yeah,
music relationships.
yeah. And what
It's
that
interesting
means
because
is,
here in the UK, people are starting to say musicking as a let's start musicking. So
yeah,
it's becoming a verb slowly already. So
yeah.
that really
I
ties
love that.
into it. Yeah.
I love that. And actually, I got in touch with this concept, musicking, as from I don't know, from a researcher, academic person, and I don't remember his name right now, but it really resonated. Like this idea that music is not just the sound, the artistic result, but it's a process.
Mm,
So, so musicking is like everything that happens around the practice. That's the musical experience that has to do with so many different things, and it's such a broader thing.
yeah.
The, you know, the things that impact the experience that you have. And so what musicking relationships mean is that we want to make music from a specific quality of relationships. And so if people are more present, feeling included, feeling safe, listening to each other, feeling connected, that will turn into music. And in our
Yes.
case, improvised music. And at the same time, also, we're musicking relationship in the way that we're bringing music, like as in the magic and the poetry of music, into people relationships, so that they relate in a different way after they leave the circle.
Yeah.
So there's
They
this two
relate to each
meanings.
other as well as to music, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Amazing. So it's much, yeah, much more than just, well, it is just music if you get to that if you get to the idea, right? Is
that's what music means to me.
yeah, yeah,
And that's what I feel that music should mean to us. It's such a beautiful way to define and understand music,
yeah,
right? This, yeah,
yeah. It's
this
amazing.
human practice and human, and it's like part of human experience for everyone. That's so clear and obvious, but somehow that's not how it's seen in
Yeah,
society.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of Musica do Círculo, can you give us a little bit of a panoramic vision of the activities you guys developed through the years, and maybe a little bit of the history of the group as well, the trio,
Hmm. Hmm.
and also like like what kind of things you developed, and maybe tell us how these things came to be a
Hmm.
necessity for you to create, like it's like, oh, I
Hmm.
think we need to create something that sorts this out, and
Hmm.
something
Hmm.
that fits this needs that we have, and I'm sure it's very organic as well, and maybe lots of answers you won't have, but if you can give us like a picture of it.
Yes, of course. Uh, so in 2009, I met Pedro, and I knew Ronaldo a bit before. We were in this study group that's from the original creator of this group was Fernando Barba, the creator of Barbatukis, a great body percussion group, body music group. And so we were in this study group where we would every week we would study, and my role was like bring more singing into this body percussion universe. So every week we would study body percussion and improvisation and vocal improv and try to mix this universe together. We would have very technical exercises actually, and it was a very challenging group. It was not really inclusive. It was really for people who were really into it. So we went deep into technical things, and then we would improvise. So every week. So that started to open so many things for us, and personally for me, in 2012, I went for the first time into. I participated in Bobby McFerrin's Circle Songs workshop, which was really a life-changing experience for me. And I had all this baggage, all this experience as from like more than 10 years working with groups and with people, and all this process that I just described. And I got there and I met a community of people from all around the world that just loved doing what I was doing, and 200 people, singers, and singing with Bobby and his faculty. And that really like opened up a really new level of what is possible, you know, and what level, and in what level you can do it, you know. They were like, Bobby and the rest of the faculty, they were so good as musicians, and I was like, wow. And as improvisers, and like I never thought that it could be done at that high level. And that really, uh, it was like an approval. It's like, you're doing it right, you know, the
Mm.
path that you chose. Because before that, it was very lonely in a way, you know. It was, I had these people at Fritos, but the most people that worked with music, and that's still the case today, they were like thinking in a totally different way, in a more traditional way. And I was like, maybe I'm wrong, you know, maybe I'm crazy.
We never think
Uh,
the others are wrong, right? We always think we are wrong.
yeah. And so it was a powerful experience. And also, I felt really that I had the contribution to bring them. My contributions there as a participant were so seen and appreciated. And and that led to me being a part of the faculty as I am today. So a few years later, I was like there teaching with Bobby.
Amazing.
And so that was really something that really changed my life, and it really helped me to touch people all around the world. So that was my bridge to like the international scene. And then I got to be a part of Keith Terry's IBMF also, like teaching there, and just teaching workshops around the world, just traveling. But going back to the beginning,
Yeah.
so when I went to Bobby for the first time, that like I came back and I was like, I need more of this. I need to have these people around me more. And that resonated also with Pedro and Ronaldo. Like, we want to make this grow, because we were like a study group, like 10 people at most,
Yeah.
like just going deep. And we created a Fritura Livre, which was like an open gathering for everyone to come and just be a part of this. And Fritura Livre like started, we had just one rule, is that we cannot plan anything. Like the structure and the rules is still the same rule. We cannot plan. We have to get there empty and just find it out on the spot. And that was the wisest decision we ever made, because Fritura Livre was like every month since 2013 until today. Every month we had one. So it was a huge learning process, and always improvising everything. And the interesting thing is, like, when you don't have a plan, different things happen.
Hmm.
and we would find out these things and learn new things, new ways of doing things, and adding that into our repertoire. And so we say that at every fritura, something that has never happened before happens. And it's true, you know, we can pinpoint it. So I never did this activity. In the beginning, it was like I never did anything close to that. Nowadays, it's like I never did this activity coming from this other one in this format in
Yeah, yeah.
space, you know. And so that was Fritura Livre that started in 2013, and by the end of the year we had like a circle with more than 100 people. And so every month before the pandemic, we were having like something around 60 to 150 people every month at a public place here in São Paulo. And I would say it's probably the biggest gathering of its kind in the world. And then so that came from the necessity of just being with people making music like that. You know, I just wanted to experience more of that, and I wanted more people.
Amazing.
And then we started doing the Musica do Círculo's retreat, which was also like a dream of ours, just to go deeper into the process with more people.
The
And
non-planning, no planning process.
yeah, and the retreat was different. At the retreat, we do plan, not everything, but we do plan.
Yeah.
And but it was like, it was an opportunity to go deeper, and that in also like a really realization of what this kind of music can bring, the kind of change it can bring into our lives, into our
Mhm.
beings, and into our communities. Like
And
the
you really
retreat.
connect to what you said before, right? The whole experience is making music, not only when you start
Yeah,
singing, right? It's like your whole
yeah,
presence and your whole relationship
yeah,
with other people. That's already making music, right?
yeah. So
In a retreat, that's like really clear, right?
yeah, like in a very organic and light way, we start to build like this presence that music asks for, and we start doing it like playing games, and also the way we connect, relate, talk. And that presence begins to become really something natural along the days when we're having meals. And as the days go by, it starts to grow. So it's like 7 days.
Yeah.
So by the end of it, it's like you're experiencing relations with other people that are so of such presence and of such creativity and openness. So like it's, the music starts to be more and more beautiful, and you start
Mhm.
to see people doing things that they never imagined they could, and you never imagined. and and you're having like the most amazing conversations during lunch and dinner that was like, wow, everyone is amazing, you know. So it's like, yeah, beautiful music begins to come up, not only as sound but also as like poetry between people's communications, you know.
Yeah.
That begins to become beautiful music also. So, and these are the two main initiatives. So at the retreat we had already, like, normally we had around 80 people for 7 days. From, like, we had more than 20 nationalities already in the retreat.
How many
And
retreats have you had already?
we had 10 editions.
Amazing.
Yeah. And yeah, so that was a lot of learning, a lot of change. And now we have this, you know, this beautiful community all around the world. We have the teacher training that just started for Brazilians, and now we want to do something online. Probably this year we start something online for foreigners, for people that are not that don't speak Portuguese. So we're doing one in English, and right now what we're trying to do is like keep this going and adapt to the circumstance and find out what is the music that can happen in this moment, and
And
also a lot of
you've done
other.
some meetings online, haven't you?
Yes, actually we have. We have the Fritura Livre. Now it's we're doing it online. And so like it's the same thing. We don't plan. We get people at a Zoom meeting, and we try out things, and people are
Amazing.
so open. So we learn a lot of different things and how to make it work. And uh, yeah, it's been beautiful. And we have the talks that we do every week with guests, and also international talks. That's like uh, we do it once a month. And yeah, we're trying to keep the community going, and actually we're taking this time now to listen more and more to the community and to see what we can how we can dream this together, because it's more and more clear that this thing belongs to everyone that wants to be a part of it. It's really the dream,
Yeah.
like having more and more people being a part of this community, but not only this community, communities like these one that are like brothers and sister communities.
Yeah, 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 of course, like a big family, right? It's amazing
Yeah.
to hear you saying how, yeah, so like everybody just feels the ownership over what you guys do, right? They like I know from my own experience, like you start feeling part of that community, but nobody said like, oh, you're in or you're out, but suddenly you're in and you're like you feel an equal for amongst other people. So that's really clear
Yeah.
when you we speak to people that had the experience.
When did you come, Fernando?
Oh, I can't remember the exact year. To the
I th-
retreat, you mean?
yeah, I think it was 27th to
17, yeah, I
January.
think, yeah.
Yeah. And are there people that you met there that you're still in touch?
I do, yeah. Tiziana, I met
Uh-huh.
there, and well, I knew already Hita and Max,
Uh-huh.
and on Facebook I have lots of that. I think the person I see the most is Tiziana because she lives in London, and we
Uh-huh.
had
Uh-huh.
common friends and everything.
Yeah.
And of course, you guys. I met Ronaldo in the retreat, so I have seen him a few times after that. Zuza, we're coming to a wrapping up moment.
Yeah, I was afraid of
Unfortunately,
that.
we would have, yeah, I'm sure we could be here talking for hours and hours and hours. But
Yeah.
I have this challenging end of the connecting chats that I like to ask my guests here it's called a feel free moment. So
Hmm.
whenever you wanted to say something and someone interrupted you, or something you've been waiting to tell to someone else, or a tip on your life, or leading workshops, a
Hmm.
book you read, or you're reading, a film you watched, anything you would like to say to
Hmm.
finish our connecting chats. This is the feel free moment.
Nice, nice. Well, what I wanna say is that first that I wanted to share more and more with you during this talk, because it's a place that is so big in my heart. And yeah, I just want to the message I want to leave, what I feel like sharing right now is how beautiful all of this is for me. It's just just being with the people and being open to them and them being open to you. And for me, music is the way to do that. That is just the most amazing experience in the world. That's what I want to share with people. That is
Uh,
just that is just beautiful and special. So what I recommend is like, you know, go to your circle and just sit with them and just find ways that you can be present together and appreciate that. And if you're not a part of such circles, go into a circle, join a circle, and perhaps try the center of the circle sometimes. Try being in the center of it sometimes. It's a beautiful place. So my wish for all of us that we can all be part of beautiful circles like that, be it through music or any other way, and that we all get to occupy the center of it for at least for a while. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, so metaphorical and practical at the same time. Zuza, amazing. Thank you so much, Zuza. That was an honor and a pleasure as usual. I'll put all the links for Musica do Círculo in the description of the YouTube video, so people can look you guys up and maybe come to some of your retreats and some of your frituras and watch your YouTube interviews and everything. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, man. Thank you, and much love to all the Soundcastle community, and really appreciate the work you guys are doing. It's really, really special. Really happy to be here.
Cool. Cheers, Zuza. Bye.
Cheers.
I lost cheers.
Nice.